Hello, this is Dr. Morris again. I felt it important to do a video on the simplicity of the human body and how it works, so you can have an insight and you can have the knowledge of how to be well and to be healthy. It's so simple. And when you understand the simplicity of health, you'll start to see that the intellectual side, the treatment-based thinking in our society must come to an end. That we must understand that we're facing extreme genetic weaknesses in our children, extreme lymphatic stagnation from these weaknesses, and a lot of cancer, diabetes, neurological problems, and it's easy to understand what causes these. And it's also easy to find a remedy to it. However, it is a job to acquire a remedy in today's children. There's a lot of work ahead of you parents to rebuild the genetic memories and cells. And that's my specialty. I'm a biochemist, naturopath, got many herbal degrees, health and fitness, iridology. I spent the last 40 years in this field. And my clients have been my greatest learning tool that there could ever be. And I've seen well over 100,000 people in my life. My personal friend, Dr. Jensen, well over 300,000. He was in the health field for 75 years. And although not a vitalist, he brought the scope of iridology to a whole nother level. So I want to take you down a path of how your body works, very simplistically. And in understanding this, you will have the tools and the knowledge to fix any problem you have. Great example, I had a lady with spinal bifida, born without a L4, L5. This is the vertebrae to the kidneys. In 3 years on raw food, she now has L4 and L5. This is the power the body has to regenerate itself, and I could give you case after case after case. So let's start off with some simple things about the human body. Your body is comprised of roughly 100 trillion cells. So the human body, whether you're talking about the nerves, you're talking about the skin, the bones, the muscle, the liver, the pancreas, the kidneys, the ovaries, the prostate, the brain, doesn't matter. All the human body is comprised of are cells and two major fluids. That predominates your body, cells and fluids. And these two major fluids obviously is responsible for taking care of the health of the cells. Outside of that, you have some bacterium, and bacterium are the janitors of life. If you walk out to your septic tank, you'll find bacteria. You wouldn't go out and put antibiotics in your septic tank and kill the bacteria in your septic tank, would you? Because someday you're going to flush your toilet and wish you had it. So looking at the bacterium community, they're great for toxicity and toxins. The viral community. There's a law of nature that you see on Animal Planet, Discover channels, and that is simple. The strong survive, the weak are consumed. You must apply this to the cells in your body. And so virals are like antigens. They attach magnetically to weakened cells and hence initiate an immune response to that cell. We've got fungus out there. Fungus is a fermentation family. Candida is a popular thought out there. You particularly see that in people with weak adrenal glands, where the adrenal glands control sugar metabolism, and we're a society that eats starch. So because of that, we don't metabolize that amount of sugars. Fermentation is happening in everybody, and of course the fungal family comes in and deals with that. And we eat a lot of yeast, breads, cheeses, a lot of fungus out there. So it's good to have a control over that group. There's no question about it. Some people have worms and flukes. You can get those out of the body. And then there's some body chemistry. So going back to the fact that the body's predominantly cells and two fluids. One fluid is obvious. You must feed 100 trillion cells. Each cell requires carbon and oxygen, just like your car motor. So carbon is gasoline, carbohydrates. These are simple sugars. And so carbon and oxygen, where's our carburetor like a car, carbon and oxygen comes together in the cell, yanks out hydrogen, and now you have cell energy, ATP. So that's vital for every cell. You have the endocrine glands, which are little chemical manufacturing plants. The liver, a major chemical transmutation factory. So you have a lot of chemistry going on in the body, and you need to be able to feed the cells. So obviously one fluid's going to be the kitchen of the body. So you have a big kitchen in there called the bloodstream, and this is full of blood vessels and livers and the whole nine yard. Pancreases, small bowels, this is where you break down your food. You got to absorb them. And a lot of endocrine glands are important because you need to utilize the chemistry. So there's a lot goes on in the chemistry and the feeding aspect of cells, but it's simple. It's just the kitchen. But you must also understand that anything that eats eliminates waste. And so that's important to understand, that anything eats poops. And that includes 100 trillion cells. There's a whole entire system, and just like a house, there's a whole separate system in your house that is the sewer system that is separate from your kitchen. You have some sewer pipes in your kitchen. And in your body, even your blood dumps what it doesn't want into the sewer system. The sewer system in your body is called the great lymphatic system. The great lymph system is easy to understand. Now, the lymphatic system includes a mucosa that lines the mouth, the sinuses, the bronchi, the lungs, the gut. The whole body's lined with this mucosa or mucous membrane. It produces mucus. I'm sure there isn't one person listening to this that hasn't experienced mucus, either from a cold and flu-like symptom, which is simply a detoxification symptom, or in one way or another. You see it in your urine. If your kidneys are filtering lymphatically, you see it in your stools. You see it coming out the nose, up the mouth, out the ears, and vaginally for women. This mucus is the great sewer system of the body. It's a thicker, mucousy, lipid-based fluid, generally cholesterol. And this is because of one side of chemistry that it takes care of. And it needs to be a thicker, more protective fluid than the blood. The blood is a thinner fluid. It needs to move faster through the body. Lymph fluids are much thicker. If you want to know how your lymph system works, I've said it's this easy. Think about how your lymphatic system works at home. How your home sewer system works, in other words. When you've got to go to the bathroom, you go to the toilet. You flush the toilet, and your wastes go out into the sewer pipes. For those that you know, there's a septic tank out in your yard, or the city has a big septic tank where your wastes go. And then there's all these little bacteria in there going, food, time to eat. So the bacteria in the septic tank is vital. You wouldn't, like I said, go kill the bacteria in your septic tank and expect it not to back up in your house. So if you look at your body, it works the same way. You know, cells can't get up and go to the bathroom. You ever think about that? Cells just can't get up and go to the bathroom. So they live on a river of fluids. Every cell has fluids flowing around them. The blood brings in the goodies and carries on down the road. The lymph picks the waste up from the cellular activity of chemistry, metabolism, and the like, and pulls these wastes into the lymph vessels. Like blood vessels, they're lymph vessels. So in a house, the water pipes would be considered the blood vessels, and the sewer pipes would be considered the sewer system. And of course, from these lymph vessels, it's off to the body's septic tanks, and you've got hundreds of them. Lymph nodes. The under the arm, axillarily, you got tons of lymph nodes. The groin, they're all through you. Tonsils, adenoids, appendix, all lymph nodes. Medical doctors like to cut them out when they're swollen. So when your septic tank gets full, just remove it. And keep using and flushing your toilet, and I'll show you what's going to happen to you. And that's exactly what happens to people without tonsils, adenoids, and appendixes. And therefore you get stiff, tight shoulders. If it's a tonsils or adenoids, you get glaucoma, lymph pressure, brain lesions, brain cancers, palate cancers. The list is long. You lose your sense of smell and taste. Your sinuses back up. You lose your teeth. You lose your jaw. You get dizzy when it's a cerebellum and have vertigo. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's a minor form of lymphedema. So it's important not to remove lymph nodes. And of course, if you have a cell that's been damaged, which we call a cancer cell, wouldn't you want it in the lymph nodes? Because the lymph nodes are full of what in your body? That's right, bacteria and immune cells. That's their job. This is the sewer system. This is the system that breaks these things down. Where else? You wouldn't dump it in the blood, would you? No. not civilized, of course. So, from the lymph nodes, most people think you reabsorb these wastes back into the venous system. And I find this so stupid of thinking, because you ignore the biggest eliminative organs of the body in relationship to cellular waste. And that is the 3 kidneys. You must understand that your kidneys have a far better role than just to filter water. I don't know where these guys got that. These are the filtering organs of the great lymphatic system. It is true, most people have lost their filtering of the lymph ability, so they don't pee much. But when you start filtering, your urine will be cloudy like it's snow in the sky, and you will see a lot of sediment like dandruff, which is nothing but cellular sewage, coming in your urine. Very important. The 3 kidneys. Well, the right kidney, of course, drains the right brain, the right arm, the right breast or chest, the right hip, the right ovary, the right testicle, the right leg, and the left. Well, where's the 3rd kidney? It's wrapped all the way around you, your skin. That's why in health we promote sweating. That's why you have your sweat lodges. This is why, going back in the dawn of time, you promoted sweating. The body promotes its own sweating. If you have a good thyroid, you can get a fever. And when you get a fever, you begin to sweat. And what do you sweat? Toxins. Well, what kind of toxins could you possibly sweat out? Cellular waste. You see psoriasis, eczema, rashes, rosacea. That's sewage. Dandruff, that's cellular waste. And if they're coming out your skin more aggressively, that means they're not coming out your kidneys. Once you get your kidneys filtering, your skin will clean up just as nice as can be. And yet, you've got dermatologists with all kinds of salves and steroids and suppressing the body's ability to clean and all this kind of crazy, idiotic thinking. It's amazing. There isn't a skin problem you can't rebuild, including melanomas. We have accepted the radical is normal, and the normal is radical. And this is just what the medical profession wants you to think. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want to show how stupid they are. And I have no offense to my friends that are medical doctors, but my friends who are medical doctors are now becoming naturopaths, and they're seeing through this grand illusion they were taught. Not their fault. They were taught this. Most people die from the treatment of their problems, not from their problems. So going back to the human body, bunch of cells, 2 major fluids, and the lymph system is where 99% of most people's problems are. And the reason? Chemistry. How many sides of chemistry are there? I told you earlier, there's 2 sides of chemistry. Now, the male side of chemistry, that is the corrosive side, we call it in chemistry. It is the aggressive side of chemistry. It's the inflammatory side of chemistry. Men like to typically tear things apart and see how they're made. Women, they're the opposite. They like to build things. They're the nesting. They're the love side of life. They're the musicians, the singers, the dancers, the songwriters, the poetry writers. When a male is creative, that's his female side. When I say I love you, that's my female side. When I get angry, that's my male side. And the same thing with a woman. When she's aggressive, that's her male side. And when she's loving, that's her female side. And chemistry is the same way. So base chemistry, or what's called alkaline chemistry, is the female chemistry on the planet, and this is a predominantly base, that's why we call it base chemistry planet. And so when you look at the body, your body produces several pounds of cellular waste every day you live. And if I sit here talking to you, moving my muscles, that's lactic acid. And it's okay to produce acids, if what? If you can remove them. So, real important to understand the 2 sides of chemistry, the base side and the acid side. Now the scale, we use a little pH scale in chemistry to play with that. But the pH scale is 0 to 14. 7 is neutral, blood is 7.4. It is not real base chemistry, but it is base chemistry. The blood cannot be acidic. If the blood gets acidic, I'll give you about 4 minutes to live. So if you eat a piece of meat, you could die from that. The problem is, or I'll say the saving grace is that your body can pull calcium out of its walls to keep the blood in a base chemistry scenario. After too much of this, though, you'll start to see varicose veins, spider veins, you'll start bruising easy, and you'll see all the other problems that go out from that. So very serious if you acidify the blood too much in terms of its ability to steal calcium and the end result of that. Your lymph fluids, of course, again, remember, a thicker mucousy fluid. And since cholesterol is the body's main antacid, you know, I always love this, there's good and bad cholesterol. When someone says that to you, they don't have a clue to what cholesterol is. They don't have a clue to how the body works. Cholesterol is the body's main antacid. LDL is what the adrenal steroids are made from, and HDL is cell wall phospholipids. It protects the body against acids, because if you don't protect the body against acids, you lose. It's a simple game between two sides of chemistry. Acids win, you lose. And so the body doesn't like to lose. So it'll use cholesterol or it'll steal calcium out of its connective tissue or bones to fight acids. Of course, you'll get calcifications and stenosis and hardening of tissue, and you'll get cholesterol plaquing over years of this. So real serious problems if you quit filtering from the kidneys, and this is the problem. And I could show you how to link every condition man suffers from to just one thing. And that's the inability to move your lymphatic system, the inability of you to remove acids out of your body. Because if I'm a cell in your pancreas, and my job is to supply insulin, how do you damage me? How do you stop me from doing that? Well, I could be born that way. In my thinking genetically, I could be born where I'm just not a real smart cell. I can change that, by the way. Also, the nervous system tells me to function. But the outside of those two things, or trauma, is blood and lymph, the two fluids that directly affect me. Ever notice when you have constipation you don't feel good? Well, most people have constipation of another kind, a major other kind, called lymphatic constipation. Simply means your lymph system isn't moving anywhere fast, and the inflammation is the end result, or acidosis, in other words, is the end result. You see this a lot in the GI tract wall, giving you IBS, Crohn's, cancers, polyps, and all kinds of things. Acid refluxes from that sort of scenario. So understanding the two sides of chemistry, 0 to 7 is the acid side. Battery acid has a pH of 1. Stomach acid, 1.8 to 2. Coca-Cola, 2.5. And most soda pops, 2.5 to 3. Gatorade, 2.85, according to the Minnesota School of Dentistry. Well, that's supposed to be a rehydrating drink. Again, more fraud, more people that don't care. Anybody that doesn't know what causes cancer right now, shame on you. Because it's easy to understand that. Cancer's not a disease. It's a damaged cell. What damages cells? Well, there are only two sides of chemistry, and both sides can't hurt you. Only one. That's the acid side. And the ironic thing here is that you die on your own waste. So keep it simple. The body's nothing but a bunch of cells. The two major fluids control the health of the cells, and there's only two sides to chemistry. Understand the acid side of chemistry. So I'll close this video by saying that you must change your diet to a lot of fruits and vegetables, which is predominantly the base chemistry. Get away from the dead animals, the beans, the grains, all this crap that somebody said was good for you. The dairy products, which superclog the lymph system. I've got infants so full of cancer, I've got to get them off of all milks at age 1. Serious problems. We have children with brain cancers and all of this. That's because they're born not filtering their lymphatic system. Health is a base chemistry experience. And detoxification, of course, is the process of cleaning the lymph system.